Hello there, it's 3 p.m. here in Moscow and I'm Nikki Aaron. This is RT International. Good to have you with us. We start with breaking news this hour. Russia's defense ministry has announced it will start to reduce its armed forces in Syria. The statement comes after a nationwide ceasefire brokered by Russia and Turkey was implemented last week. Well, Murad Gaziev joins me live in the studio now. Murad, you spent a significant amount of time in Syria. You're probably the best person we have to discuss this. So how much of a significant event is this in the Syrian peace process?
Well, it's for the peace process, it is significant, but in other ways. Otherwise, you know, the military group, Russian military group in Syria is being downsized. That includes and starts off with the naval battle group, the Admiral Kuznetsov Aircraft Carrier. By the way, this is the first time it has taken part in a real combat operation. It's the first time jets have taken off the Admiral Kuznetsov to carry out raids against terrorist targets, against live targets, and somewhat successfully, if Vladimir Putin's words to go by. This isn't a surprise. He said that this would happen. Let's take a listen.
I agree with the proposal of the Defense Ministry to reduce our military presence in the Syrian Republic, bearing in mind that we will unconditionally continue to fight against international terrorism, and we will continue to support the legitimate Syrian government in the fight against terror.
And here's the kicker. He said that the fight against global terrorism will continue, and that sort of hints that, you know, a portion of the Russian armed forces stationed in Syria will stay there. We don't know who or how many, but a portion, as I say, will stay there. The Syrians are very happy. Their military officials, even President Bashar al-Assad, saying thank you very much to the Russian military for what they did against al-Qaeda in Syria, Jabhat al-Nusra. Otherwise, we also know that the ceasefire that has taken hold across large parts of Syria, that's going to be helped by withdrawal of Russian forces. You know, it's a goodwill gesture. The Troika, Russia, Turkey, Iran, which gave us the Aleppo evacuation. A few weeks later, the Aleppo ceasefire. They're building towards a peace process, and that is definitely going to help. As for the West, you know, the Western reaction when the Admiral Kuznetsov was heading to Syria, well, it was nothing short of hysterical. They had the British, for example, sent ships to escort the Admiral Kuznetsov, the naval battle group, as it was heading to Syria. There's so much coverage. It'll be interesting to see how the media covers its withdrawal now that it's heading back to home waters, to Russian ports.
Absolutely. Well, we'll wait and see what happens. RT's Murad Gaziev in the studio. Thanks. Well, earlier we discussed this with UK Conservative MP Daniel Kaczynski. Let's take a listen.
We have to acknowledge and reiterate over and over again how welcome the ceasefire is. We have obviously over many years here in the United Kingdom been following the appalling human misery that has played out in Syria over at least 5 years, and the consequences not just for that country but other regional countries in Europe. So this is very, very welcome that the ceasefire has been brokered, and that Russia, Turkey and Iran have obviously done a great deal of work to ensure that this ceasefire is brought about. And I think we ought to be very hopeful that it sticks.
Well, when the aircraft carrier first approached Syrian shores, RT's Igor Jdanov stepped aboard.
For the first time in history, military jets are taking off from Admiral Kuznetsov for an actual combat mission. We are currently on the way to Admiral Kuznetsov, the flagship of the Russian Navy in Syria. The jets are coming back to Kuznetsov from the mission. This fighter jet is fully ready for combat, and one of the armaments it carries is this bomb. It's a high-precision weapon. It weighs 500 kilograms and explodes within 1.5 meters from a target. This helicopter is not from any of the ships in this naval group, and it has been watching us for days. Our commanders, our officers on this ship are telling us that it is from one of the NATO's warships in the region.